So many people have described the last several years, already before Trump, certainly during Trump, and since, as a movement to the right of the United States, politically speaking, maybe culminating in a whole host of events that I could pick out. The one that's in everyone's mind these days is the Supreme Court's bevy of decisions overturning Roe versus Wade, uh, getting rid, or it seems, the separation of church and state, and so on. So let me ask, how do you see it? Is there such a shift? And if so, how do you account for it?
I don't see the proper description as left versus right. I see the proper description as neoliberal, corporatism, anti-democracy versus democracy and the well-being of our people. People who are the working people of the United States, the average citizen of the United States is being screwed by the same forces, whether they are on the right or on the left. I am currently reading a biography of Franklin Roosevelt. And Roosevelt said that we didn't have to worry, he said, about either fascist or communist takeover, as long as democracy took care of our people. That is what has happened over the last 40 years, and 40 plus years, actually, with this advent of this extraordinary neoliberal, amoral, corporatist stance, which actually has replaced democracy as our governing principle, causing this massive transfer of wealth and opportunity and resources and power into the hands of a relatively tiny group of Americans. You've created huge swaths of desperate people. Desperate people do desperate things. Desperate people are a national security risk to any country. And so people look around for what they can find. And in 2016, we had an authoritarian populist on the right, Donald Trump. We had a progressive populist on the left, Bernie Sanders. And because the DNC, which is in the hands of the corporatist element of the Democratic Party, suppressed Bernie, the American people were not going to go with a woman who said, let's just continue with the last 8 years of success. What success was that for them? So, we can argue about who started this. Did the Democrats or the Republicans start it? I tend to think the Republicans started it because the Koch brothers set the agenda, but no Democratic president has stopped it. People have been desperate, and people have been confused, and people have not been educated properly, and people have not been served. And they have had a sense of rage and a sense of legitimate rage based on real pain. Why were Europeans, why were people in other advanced democracies getting healthcare? Why were people in other advanced democracies getting educated without these huge college loans and so forth? So we got what any reasonable person would have predicted, and what many people on the real left have predicted would happen. We were told we were alarmists, we were told we were naive, we were told we didn't know what we were talking about. And so as horrifying as the ascension of all this far-right, white supremacist ideology is, it should be a surprise to no one who's really been looking at American politics over the last 40 years. But we just need to keep moving, and I think we are. We're going to get there because the consciousness is rising. That's how the Berlin Wall fell. It's just that the consciousness rose, that at some point it was just inevitable. What actually made it happen was somebody made a wrong phone call or something like that. But what really made it happen was that the energy was so great that that false system had to fall. Neoliberal corporatism is false. It is an amoral system, and an amoral system always leads to immoral consequences. And people are waking up more and more every day. People understand what the DNC and the Democratic establishment did to Bernie. People saw during COVID that the forces of greed, the forces of amoral, unfettered capitalism was okay with people dying. They would rather see people die than in any way infringe upon their profit motive. People are understanding that whether it's the insurance companies, big agriculture, big oil, big chemical companies, pharmaceutical companies, gun manufacturers, defense contractors, Richard, we all know this. People get this. They are a corporate aristocracy, and they stand on their economic Mount Olympus, and they throw crumbs in the form of job creation to the economic serfs below. And the serfs have started to figure it out. That system will be challenged. The exact way everybody will do their little piece of chipping away at it, and one day that thing will fall. What we must be concentrated on, focused on, and committed to is that it is a nonviolent takedown, but a nonviolent takedown. And I feel very strongly about that.